Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। शील प्रभुपाद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवम् श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरु दीनतारिणम्। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, Chapter 1, Observing the Armies on the Battlefield of Kurukshetra. Text numbers 21 and 22. Arjuna Uvacha Senayor Ubhayor Madhye Ratham Sthapayamechyuta Yavadetan Niriksheham Yodhu Kamanavasthitan Kairmaya Saha Yodhavyam Asmin Ranasamudyame. Translation purported by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Arjuna said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies so that I may see those present here who desire to fight and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms. So we read the purport in the last class partially, and we discussed that the pleasure in this world is achieved by offering loving service to our beloved. This is the only way to receive the pleasure. That you offer the loving service to your beloved. If you think that I can be happy by receiving so many objects for my pleasure, then you will not be happy. It is an illusion in this world that it appears that if I get, I will be happy. But it is an illusion. The fact is that you offer loving service to your beloved, then you will be happy. So, in your family, expecting that all your family members are of very good, loving nature to you, and naturally you feel to offer loving service to them. And when you offer loving service to them, you feel happy. And Lord has made the system also in such a way that at least to your family members, you feel some kind of loving relationship. Even in the animal society, bird society, at least till the time the children are small for the animals, they naturally feel loving relationship. When the children grow up, then they don't feel love, then they fight. Then the parents animal fight with the children parents, children animals. And that happens even in the human society. That when the child is small, everyone feels so much of love. And as the child grows and the child starts behaving in certain way which is not up to the expectation of the parents, then the bitterness begins, isn't it? So, so this loving relationship which we feel, since again another point that all the child is behaving not properly, and parents are not appreciating it, still they feel that it is our child only. Why it happens? Because of Lord's arrangement. Because of Lord's arrangement. Dhritarashtra, he was knowing that my son Duryodhana is very bad, but still so much of loving affection. Of course, that was illusion. On the other hand, Hiranyakashipu, he was also knowing that my son is very bad, but he was so cruel towards him. So, in both cases, Hiranyakashipu was very cruel. That cruelty was coming because of the arrangement of the nature. In case of Dhritarashtra, the loving affection was coming because of the worldly nature. Both were driven by the three modes of material nature of this world. And it applies to us also. If we are feeling loving affection towards someone, don't think that we are having so much of selfless nature. Don't think like that. Same child will come to you in another form, in another life, and you may not have that much love. Same child will come. And that time, even if the identity is revealed to you, that this is your past life child, you will not be having that much love. That is why when the incident comes of the past life memories, they know that this is my child from the last birth. But still, they cannot express that much love. So it's all driven by the three modes, whatever of love is. But original love which we have as the soul is towards God. All the loving affection which we offer is on the bodily level, offered by Lord's arrangement in the nature. It's all on the bodily level. The cat parents feel so much of love towards their kitten, isn't it? Maybe your father has become dead now and he has taken birth in that kitten body. You will not have that much loving affection as you had towards your father. But now that cat parent is having loving affection towards kitten. Isn't it? And only for some years, that's all. So this is how we are simply driven by the material modes. It's all on the bodily level. Bodily level changes and all our love and emotions, everything changes. But true love remains at the level of soul. Soul never changes. And that loving relationship is with God and all the associates of God and all the souls also. So you can love your child very much at the level of soul. And that loving relationship will never be destroyed. If you're loving your child at the level of body, it will soon be disturbed. But if you are loving your child or anyone at the level of soul, it will never be disturbed because it is at the level of soul. At the level of soul, you're always concerned about everyone. If someone is wrongly behaving, then you are concerned. If you are someone is behaving very nicely, it's very nice. So at the level of soul, we should offer our loving relationship to others. And at the level of soul, if we are having loving relationship, and if they are performing improperly, then surely we will act against those improper behavior. So we should offer love to others on the level of soul. And then, Hare Krishna, at the level of soul, we can truly serve them. Otherwise, our service to them will be only on the bodily level. Hare Krishna. Service on the bodily level is only temporary. Today you are serving this body, but how long the body will remain? Isn't it? And once the body is destroyed, all your service to that body is also destroyed. But service offered at the level of soul is always going to remain even after the death. So service at the level of soul should be offered. What about service at the level of body? Shall we offer it or not? Offer service at the level of body only to the extent which is needed for the service at the level of soul. Again, I will repeat. Offer service at the level of body which is needed to offer service at the level of soul. Only that much. For example, you have to feed your children. Why? Because if you will not feed the body of your children, then their body will become weak, it will become very weak, and with that body, they will not be able to serve Krishna. So you have to feed your children so that their body remains strong. And with that body, they will be able to serve Krishna. So serve on the body level only to the extent which is needed for the service at the spiritual level, at the level of soul. Beyond that, if you are serving the body, you are simply inviting the problems of this world. You are simply inviting more and more bondage in this world, misery in this world, if you are serving beyond that. So we should serve the body only to the extent it is needed for the service of Krishna. That's all. So that's how we should offer our loving relationship to others at the level of soul. Now read from the next second paragraph. As a pure devotee of the Lord. Who has mic? As a pure devotee of the Lord.
As a pure devotee of the Lord, Arjuna had no desire to fight with his cousins and brothers, but he was forced to come onto the battlefield by the
Obstinacy.
obstinacy of Duryodhana, who was never agreeable to any peace negotiation.
Yeah. So Arjuna was not very ambitious that I want a very big kingdom. No, he just wanted something to perform his services, that's all. If you are a potter, you require some clay to make the pots. If you are a teacher, you require some students to teach them. That's all. So you require some engagement as per your nature, and for that engagement, you require the field. So Arjuna was not very ambitious, he just required a small village to rule. But Duryodhana was so obstinate that he was not ready to give anything. So they were forced to come on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. If you are snatching my service, naturally you will be not comfortable, isn't it? So like that. So they were forced to come on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Otherwise, they were not very, but they were not the people who wanted violence. Read further.
Therefore, he was very anxious to see who the leading person present on the battlefield were. Although there was no question of peacemaking endeavor on the battlefield, he wanted to see them again and to see how much they were bent upon demanding an unwanted war.
So he wanted to see the generals of Kaurava army not to have peaceful negotiation with them, but just to see how much they are determined to fight. Because if you are fighting, you have to assess the opposite strength also. So with that mentality, Duryodhan is asking Krishna, please take my chariot in the middle of the Kauravas army so that I can see the assembled Kaurava warriors who are determined to fight with me. Next verse. योऽस्त्यमानान् वेक्षेऽहं य एतेऽत्र समागताः धार्तराष्ट्रस्य दुर्बुद्धे युद्धे प्रियचिकीर्षवा. Read the translation. Next person. Keep the mic always on. Okay.
Let me see those who have come here to fight. wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra.
Yeah. So he wanted to see who have come to fight. Read the purport.
It was an open secret that Duryodhana wanted to usurp the kingdom of the Pandavas by evil plans in collaboration with his father Dhritarashtra. Therefore, all persons who had joined the side of Duryodhana must have been birds of the same feather. Arjuna wanted to see them on the battlefield before the fight was begun, just to learn who they were. But he had no intention of proposing peace negotiations with them.
Wait. So, birds of the same feather. So, if you are joining, if you are siding someone, that means you are supporting their mentality. So, all the people who have sided Duryodhana are of that mentality. That is expected. And thus, Arjuna wanted to see them. Who all are they? And what is their strength? So that he can fight accordingly. Read further.
It was also a fact that he wanted to see them to make an estimate of the strength which he had to face, although he was quite confident of victory because Krishna was sitting by his side.
So we should take shelter of Krishna and be confident on Krishna's shelter, not on our strength. Take shelter of Krishna and be confident of Krishna's shelter, not on our strength. But we should do our part in the service of Krishna. We are not confident of our strength, but we will do our part as a service to Krishna. Ultimately, everything will be done by Krishna. Krishna's will be done. So that kind of attitude should be there. Arjuna was the most powerful person in the whole world in the fighting of bow and arrow, but still he was not confident about his own skill. He was confident of Krishna's shelter. That is important. So we should never be proud of what I have today. I may be having so much of strength in my body. I may be having so much of skills to do the things. I may be having so much of money to handle different activities, but nothing will be of use if Krishna's shelter is not there. So, whatever I have, I will exercise it in the service of Krishna, and ultimately, whatever Krishna's desire will be, that will happen. So, that kind of attitude we should always keep in our day to day life. Without Krishna's shelter, I am simply very insignificant. Okay. If that attitude is there in our day to day life, in every activity, then surely whatever we are doing will be in the service of Krishna. Because we are fully depending upon Krishna. Krishna is providing everything, so naturally you want to serve Him. But if we are thinking of our strength, I can do this, then you want to increase your strength. Then you don't want to give Krishna, isn't it? So this mentality should be there that I am very insignificant. Whatever I have is belonging to Krishna, and I should offer it in the service of Krishna. And I should take shelter of Krishna with this attitude, and whatever Krishna desires, that will happen. So this is Arjuna's mentality. And based on Krishna's shelter, he is confident of victory. Not based on his power, not based on the which he gained in the last 13 years of exile. No. He was confident of victory based on Krishna's shelter. Next verse. Sanjay Uvacha Eva Mukto Rishikesho Gudakeshena Bharata Senayor Ubhayor Madhye Sthapayitva Rathottamam. Next person. Read the translation.
Sanjay said, O descendant of Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the five chariot in the middle of the armies of both parties.
Yeah. So Krishna, he simply obliged with Arjuna's desire and he brought the chariot in the middle of both the armies. Read the purport.
In this verse, Arjuna is referred to as Gudakesha. Gudaka means sleep, and one who conquers sleep is called Gudakesha. Sleep also means ignorance, so Arjuna conquered both sleep and ignorance because of his friendship with Krishna.
Wait. So Gudaka means sleep, ignorance. What is ignorance? Devoid of knowledge, especially devoid of spiritual knowledge. That is ignorance. So if you are in relationship with Krishna, then you are functioning on the spiritual knowledge. So naturally, if you are functioning in spiritual knowledge, then you are not in ignorance. But if we are not functioning on this spiritual knowledge in relationship with Krishna, then surely we are in ignorance. So we have to analyze in our life how much of my life activities are in the service of Krishna. That much I am free from ignorance. If my life's activities are 50% in the service of Krishna, 50% I am beyond ignorance. Other 50% I am still in ignorance. So we have to analyze how much my life's activities are in the service of Krishna. Because জীবের স্বরূপ হয় কৃষ্ণের নিত্যদাস. Soul's constitutional position is to serve Krishna. Just like your child. He forgot to which family he belongs. He forgot to which family he belongs. So he will be just roaming around on the road. He doesn't know which family, which home. So he is in ignorance. You ask him, why are you moving around on the street? Why don't you go home? I don't know. What is my home? That means what people say. He is in ignorance. He doesn't know even his home, his parents. So if he knows his home parents, then he will go home. If you know your relationship with Krishna, then you will serve Krishna. The fact that you are not serving Krishna, that means you are in ignorance. So see how much in your life you are serving Krishna and how much in your life you are serving on the bodily level. To that degree, you are in ignorance. So in this way, we have to understand how much we are in ignorance. So Arjuna, he was 100% in the service of Krishna. Thus, he was not at all in ignorance. And physically also, he has conquered over the sleep. He can serve Krishna 24 hours without sleep. We all sleep in the service of Krishna. Our sleeping is Krishna's service. But it should be Krishna's service, not just words. It should be Krishna's service. And how to analyze whether my sleep is Krishna's service or not? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu yukta swapna avbodasya. You can sleep, not too much, not too little. Okay. So if you're sleeping too much, then you're not following Krishna's instruction. That means you are not serving Krishna. If you are sleeping too little for some material ambition, again you are not following Krishna's instruction. So you are not serving Krishna. All right, you are not sleeping too much, not sleeping too little. You are sleeping appropriately. Okay. But what you do in the daytime when you are not sleeping? Are you doing yuktahar? Are you doing yukta vihar? Are you doing yukta cheshtasya? Based on that, you will decide it. Whether your sleep is for Krishna's service or your sleep is simply sense gratification. So our sleep is in Krishna's service. It should be in Krishna's service. That sleep is all right. Then you are not in ignorance. Because you are sleeping so that body again gains the energy. And again you will serve Krishna. So that sleep is not in ignorance. But if you are simply sleeping on the bodily level and after waking up you are simply functioning on the bodily level, your sleep is also in ignorance and your waking up is also in ignorance. So Arjuna, he would not require to sleep. He was constantly serving Krishna. And even if you require to sleep, your sleep should be for the service of Krishna. That's how it should be. Read further.
As a great devotee of Krishna, he could not forget Krishna even for a moment, because that is the nature of devotee. Either in waking or in sleep, the devotee of the Lord can never be free from thinking of Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes.
So we are sleeping so that I can serve Krishna nicely tomorrow. So I slept with the Krishna's thought and I wake up with Krishna's thought. See, that's how it should happen every day. That I'm sleeping with the thought of Krishna and waking up with the thought of Krishna. And in the daytime, I'm thinking of Krishna. Then our sleep is not in ignorance. And Arjuna was like that. Constantly he was thinking of Krishna. Read further.
Thus, a devotee of Krishna can conquer both sleep and ignorance simply by thinking of Krishna constantly.
Just reduce little bit sound. Okay. Oh, okay. थोड़ा दूर पकड़िए हाँ.
This is called uh, samadhi. This is called Krishna's consciousness of samadhi.
हाँ wait. Just थोड़ा कम कर दीजिए हाँ. बस. हाँ. So samadhi doesn't mean no talking. Samadhi doesn't mean no talking. Samadhi doesn't mean no activity. What samadhi means? Absorbed in Krishna. Arjuna is fighting on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He is in samadhi. Someone is performing austerity, thinking of Krishna. He is in samadhi. Someone is doing kirtan for Krishna. He is in samadhi. Someone is absorbed in book distribution to please Krishna. He is in samadhi. So one can be samadhi on the street, one can be samadhi in the kitchen, one can be samadhi in the office, provided you are absorbed in the service of Krishna. So that is samadhi. Not that samadhi means no activity, no talking, no eating, nothing. Not that is not samadhi. That is a very narrow understanding of samadhi. Read further. Bagula, oh yeah, that is Bagula. Bagula is sitting on the water, very absorbed. Can you say he is in samadhi? He is absorbed, but where he is absorbed? To catch the fish. He is not in samadhi. So one should be absorbed in Krishna, then he is in samadhi. Read further.
As Rishikesha or the director of the senses and mind of every living entity, Krishna could understand Arjuna's purpose in placing the chariot in the middle of the armies. Thus he did so and spoke as follows.
Hmm. So Krishna is the controller of everyone's mind and senses. We don't give him the control, that is not the subject matter. But Krishna is the ultimate controller. So Arjuna, with his mind, thought that bring my chariot in the middle of the army. And Krishna understood why Arjuna is asking to bring the chariot in the middle of the army. Krishna understood. But now Krishna will do something. Okay. What Krishna will do is that he will change the mentality of Arjuna. Why Krishna will change the mentality of Arjuna? So that he can speak Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna wanted to bring the chariot in the middle of the Kaurava army to see who has come to fight, so that he can fight appropriately, isn't it? Arjuna, we are going to Mangalgiri tomorrow. That is a place where Arjuna was performing austerity to get the weapons. So when he got the weapon, Lord Shiva told him, don't use this weapon for the against the enemies who are not on the celestial level. Don't use this weapon against the enemies who are not on the celestial level. And that means this weapon is very powerful. This weapon is very powerful. You have to cut vegetables. Do you bring sword to cut the vegetable? No, isn't it? So Shiva told Arjuna, this weapon is very powerful, Pashupakastra. Don't use this weapon for the enemies who are on the earthly level. Only for the celestial weapons, you use this weapon to fight against it. Okay. So, like that. So, you have to be very cautious, careful what you are using, how you are using. So, Arjuna wanted to fight. So you have to understand who are the enemies, what is their fighting spirit, what is their power, what is their strength. With that attitude, Arjuna asked, bring my chariot in the middle of the Kaurava army. But now Krishna is going to change his mentality. Fighting will happen definitely afterwards. But before that, Krishna wanted to present Bhagavad Gita. Why Krishna wanted to present Bhagavad Gita now? Because this is the most appropriate time. Why this is the most appropriate time? Because the whole world's attention is centered in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Because people from all over the world has assembled in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Everyone's attention in the whole world is in the Kurukshetra. So when everyone's attention is there, that's the best time to present Bhagavad Gita. This was one reason that because this was one reason that Krishna chose to present Bhagavad Gita now. Second reason, Krishna wanted to show to the world that even in the battlefield of Krishna, battlefield of Kurukshetra, one can practice the principles of Bhagavad Gita. Even in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, one can practice the principles of Bhagavad Gita. Why can't you practice in your regular life? You can practice. Otherwise, people have a lot of excuse. Oh, we have business. How can we follow the principles of Bhagavad Gita? You are sadhu. You can live with the Bhagavad Gita, isn't it? Oh, I am a student. I have to study all these things. Bhagavad Gita later. Or people say Bhagavad Gita for the old people, isn't it? So all such wrong mentality which people have, Krishna wanted to condemn all these things, and that is why he chose to speak Bhagavad Gita now. Because in the fighting, so much of stress, so much of tension, and in that situation, if one can practice Bhagavad Gita, why not in other situations? People always give excuse that now I am in difficulty, I cannot follow the principles. But no, because you are in difficulty, you must follow the principles. So that was second reason why Krishna chose to speak Bhagavad Gita now. So these are the most important reasons that why Krishna chose to speak Bhagavad Gita. Because everyone's attention was there, and Krishna wanted to establish the principle that you can practice Bhagavad Gita in all situations of life. When one can practice even in the war, so why not in other situations? So Krishna is going to change the mentality. Okay. So he is the controller of Arjuna's mind and senses fully, and he knew very clearly why Arjuna is asking Krishna to bring the chariot in the middle of the Kauravas army. But now he's changing his mentality. And that changed mentality will be reflected in the future verses as Arjuna is going to speak. So far, Arjuna's mentality was that now he is going to fight. After this, when Arjuna will speak, he will speak with the mentality that I do not want to fight. Okay, so next verse. Bhishma Drona Pramukta Sarvesham Cha Mahikshitaam Uvacha Parth Pashyaitan Samavetan Kuru Niti. Read the translation. Next verse. You want to read? Okay, read.
In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all other
Chieftains.
chieftains of the world, Rishikesh, the Lord said, just behold, Parth, all the Kurus who are assembled here.
Yeah. So Krishna is saying, just behold Partha, all the Kurus assembled here. With this statement, Krishna is making the statement, just behold, all the Kurus are assembled here. And with this statement, Krishna is changing the mentality of Arjuna. Okay? So, read the purport.
As a supersoul of all living entities, Lord Krishna could understand what was going on in the mind of Arjun. The use of the word Rishikesh is the connection indicates that he knew everything, and the word Parth, uh, or the son of Kunti or Prutha, is also similarly significant in reference to Arjun.
Wait. So, Krishna knew everything about Arjuna's mind and he's changing Arjuna's mind. Okay. So, that is why Krishna is called here as Rishikesh, who is the controller of everyone's mind and senses. We are so much driven by our mind and senses, and we think that I am doing everything. No, your mind and senses are driven by someone else, and you are driven by those mind and senses. You are not doing. Okay? We are simply puppets. But We are anyway puppets. But problem is that though we are puppet, we maintain our ego. Okay. Accept that you are puppet and surrender to the puppeteer. That we don't want. We are puppet, but still maintain our ego that I am doing everything. So that is the problem. So Arjuna is called as Parth here, son of Pratha. Pratha is another name of Kunti. Okay. So read further.
As a friend, he wanted to inform Arjun that because Arjuna was the son of Pritha, the sister of his own father Vasudev, he had agreed to be the charioteer of Arjun.
Wait. So Krishna is controller of everyone's mind and senses, including Arjuna. And so that is why Krishna is called Rishikesh. And Parth is Arjuna is called as Parth just to indicate that out of loving relationship with you, I did the service for you. Read further.
Now, what did Krishna mean when he told Arjun to behold the Kurus?
Wait, this is an important statement. What did Krishna mean when he told Arjuna to behold the Kurus? Krishna is changing Arjuna's mentality now. What did Krishna mean? That's hidden, but going to be reflected in Arjuna's word. What did Krishna mean? Now see all the Kaurava warriors who are your relatives. Okay? And based on that relationship, Arjuna's mentality is going to change. That's what Krishna means. Okay. Earlier, Arjuna is saying, I want to see who has come in the battlefield to fight so that I can fight accordingly. That was Arjuna's mind. But what is in Krishna's mind? Oh, these are your relatives. How can you fight with them? That's how Krishna is trying to change Arjuna's mind. So that's what Krishna is meaning. Just behold, all the Kurus are here. Read further.
Did Arjun want to stop there and not fight? Krishna never expected such things from the son of his aunt Prutha. The mind of Arjun was thus predicted by the Lord in friendly joking.
Yeah. So already Arjuna's mentality is being changed by Krishna. Okay. At the same time, so Krishna has changed Arjuna's mind. At the same time, Krishna has to take the role of correcting Arjuna's mind. That's how you want to present Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a knowledge, wisdom to change our wrong mentality to right mentality. What is wrong mentality? I spoke in the first class itself I, me, and mine. This is wrong mentality. What is right mentality? Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna. Okay. So, if Krishna has to present Bhagavad Gita, then situation has to be created. So Arjuna's mind is changed now, wrong mind. And now Krishna is going to speak Bhagavad Gita and correct it to the right mind, right mentality. So, and Arjuna's mind is changed now, and Krishna is questioning. He's not speaking yet, but he's thinking, which Srila Prabhupada is revealing in the purport. Did Arjuna want to stop there and not fight? Because his relatives are there now? This is wrong mentality. Oh, my relatives are there, how can I fight? Your relatives are there, so what? You have to do your duty. So just because your relatives are there, will you not perform your duty? Just because your son has not answered the question well, will you not cut his marks? Isn't it? So you have to do the needful correction. So did Arjuna want to stop there and not fight just because his relatives are there around? So this is Krishna's question in mind. Okay, as a corrective teacher. Krishna never expected such things from the son of his aunt Pratha. Pratha was so always following the principles of religion. Okay. Kunti, she was always following the principles of religion. So Arjuna is the son of Kunti. How can he behave like this? Not following the scriptural principle. And that is another reason why Krishna is giving the name Parth. You are son of Kunti. How can you behave like this? Still, Arjuna had not spoken anything. But Krishna understood what he has done, and based on that, he is questioning in his own mind. Okay, like that. So, next verse. तत्र पश्य स्थितान् पार्थ पितनथ पितामहान् आचार्यन् मातुलान् भ्रातॄन् पुत्रान् पौत्रान् सखिंस्तथा श्वशुरान् सुहृदश्चैव सेनयोरुभयोरपि. Give the mic behind and ask them to read translation.
Uh,
Why? Is it okay?
there Arjun would see within the midst of the armies of both parties his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, uh, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his father-in-law and well-wishers.
So all these relatives are seen by Arjuna. Read further.
But on the battlefield, Arjuna could see all kinds of relatives. He could see persons like
Purushrava,
Purisrava, who were his father's contemporaries,
grandfathers,
grandfather Bhishma, and some other teachers like Dronacharya and Krupacharya, maternal uncles like Salya and Sakuni, brothers like Duryodhana, sons like Lakshmana, friends like Aswatthama, well-wishers like
Kritavarma.
Gita, etc. He could see also the armies which contained many of his friends.
Yeah, so all the relatives are around. All different relatives. If you are affectionate to your children are there affectionate to father, friends, father is there for affectionate to brother, brother, son. Everyone is there around. So Arjuna is put into this situation. So Arjuna was not a person like that to think of I, me, and mine on the bodily level. But Krishna is creating the situation. Why? Because this is our problem. This is the only problem that I am having the mentality of I, me, and mine on the bodily level. So that should be rectified, that should be corrected. And thus Krishna is bringing the situation of I, me, and mine in Arjuna's life. So this is the artificial situation brought. This is not the actual situation. It's an artificial situation which was brought. So that Krishna presents Bhagavad Gita to guide all of us. Just the example is given in Gita Mahatmya. A cow, if you have to milk a cow, you bring the calf, and by seeing the calf, cow develops the affection and thus gives the milk. And milkman, he brought the calf, and starts milking the cow, and then collects all the milk for himself. Calf get little, but rest of the milk, milkman gets. So like that. Arjuna is acting simply as calf. Okay. Krishna is the person who is a milkman to give the milk to all of us. Right? So the situation is created so that Bhagavad Gita is spoken to all of us. The wisdom of Bhagavad Gita we all receive. तान् समीक्ष्य स कौन्तेय सर्वान् बन्धुनवस्थितान् कृपया परयाविष्टो विषीदन्निदमब्रवीत्. Give behind mic. Okay, mic is not working. Read translation. It's not- Read translation.
When the son of Kunti, Arjuna saw all these different traits of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus.
See, before this, Arjuna's speech was, "Let me see who have come to fight." What was the mentality? I will kill them. Now, what is the mentality? He became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke. So, any situation, what is your mentality? Is your mentality as per the ideal scriptural principle, or your mentality is based on bodily level? Okay. And on the bodily level also, it's not only one type of mentality, different types of mentality on the bodily level. Simple example is your son did not perform well in exam. Well, some parents will become very much worried. He did not perform well. Some parents will think, what is an issue? Anyway, my son has to become to carry on my business only. Some other parents, why to take so much of stress of exam? Whatever his ability, he did well. I'm happy with my son. Like that. So on the bodily level, also different mentality. So, what is your mentality in any situation? Is your mentality Krishna conscious, or is your mentality bodily conscious? So we should be Krishna conscious. So purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to make us Krishna conscious. And Krishna is taking the example of Arjuna and changing his mentality from bodily conscious to Krishna conscious. So that is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. And we should apply these principles of Bhagavad Gita in that manner in our life. As Arjuna, it is applied on Arjuna's life, so we should apply on our life also. Arjuna's situation may differ compared to our situation, but it's almost the same. It's almost the same. Arjuna was bodily attached, we are also bodily attached. Like that. So Arjuna is becoming overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. To be compassionate is not wrong. We should be compassionate upon others. Okay. But when our compassion is only on the bodily level, then it is wrong. And I will end with this example that a sister was very much compassionate to his sick brother. Brother was sick and he was, because of his sickness, he could not eat well. And sister was very compassionate. Oh, my son is not able to eat well. I will prepare some nice foodstuffs so that my brother will eat well. What he likes? Oh, he likes fried pakora. I will prepare nice fried pakora for my brother so that he eats well. and she prepares fried pakora for the brother who is sick out of compassion. What will happen? Brother will become more sick. So her compassion is fully on the bodily level. Fully on the body level. She cannot think intelligently. So similarly for compassion on the body level, it's wrong. So compassion is not wrong, but application of compassion only on the bodily level is wrong. And that's what Arjuna is going to do. So we'll discuss in the next class. Stop here. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any clarification if anyone has, we can ask.